세 번째 판부터 원래 그런 성격이 아니었는데 긴장이 되더라고요. 이길 것 같다 보니까 긴장이 되기도 하고 좀 저 같지 않은 플레이를 좀 많이 하다 보니까 역습이 나온 것 같아요.
그래도 나름 좋은 성적을 거뒀다고 생각하긴 하지만 얼마 만에 찾아온 우승 기세인데 놓쳐서 너무 아쉽습니다. 조성주 선수를 이긴 거 이게 좀 기적적으로 저도 좀 생각되긴 하는데 운영해서 지긴 싫다. 그냥 타이트하게 한번 가보자 해가지고 제가 성공을 거둔 그런 거란 말이에요. 그게 좀 결승전에도 영향이 있었어요. 세라랑 할 때도 타이트하게 하자 차라리 그냥 운영해서 지는 것보다. 근데 또 끝나고 나니까 아 그래 그냥 유령 쓸 걸 이런 생각이 하긴 뭐 이게 뭐 유령 썼다고 무조건 이긴다는 보장은 없지만 그런 아쉬움이 드는 건 사실이죠.
사실상 병재형 우승이었어요. 근데 병재형이가 유령만 썼어도 사실 4대 0으로 끝났을 것 같거든요. 제 생각에는 저한테 좀 유령 쓰다 많이 혼나가지고 자신이 없었다라고 얘기를 하더라고요. 그래서 제가 이제 병재형을 너무 좀 혼내놓은 게 그것 때문에 중승하지 않았나.
Because I lose in the qualifier and fly too far, pizza. 그래서 안 가. 아무 돈 없어요.
그때 당시에 테란이 좀 많이 강하다고 생각을 했어서 밸런스 탓을 좀 많이 하면서 했었는데 네, 이제는 좀 긍정적으로 생각을 해보려고 하고 있어요.
지난 시즌은 뭐 테란 당해가지고 열받긴 했어요. 정발이 들어가지고 올라갈 수 있다고 자신감도 있었고 결승전도 오랜만에 한번 가보고 싶었는데 좀 아쉬웠던 것 같아요.
싸기. 테란 싸기. 그냥 싸기. Everyone say 싸기, so 싸기. 맞아? 요?
그런 생각을 제일 많이 했던 것 같아요. 테란이 진짜 그렇게 사기인가? 아, 난 왜 이렇게 힘들지? 아, 저그는 진짜 운이 좋다. 저그는 맨날 4저그가 아니고 3저그 해가지고 저저 결승 맨날 이러잖아요.
그럴 것 같은데요, 저는. 맵이 바뀌지 않는 이상. 근데 맵도 맵인데 사실 밸런스적으로도 좀 좋은 게 아닌가. 왜냐면 저그들만 힘들어하는 게 아니고 약간 토스 선수들도 좀 많이 힘들어하더라고요. 그래서 테란이 좀 강세 같아요.
테란들은 자기네들이 연습을 더 많이 한다고 그렇게 말하는데 사실 그건 말이 안 되고 이번엔 뭐 저만 올라갔으면 좋겠어요, 사실.
네, 괜찮은데 지금 저희 조에 이제 포인트 랭킹 1등이 있어가지고 좀 어려울 것 같고요. 근데 요즘은 다 누가 잘하고 못하고 그런 게 없이 그냥 다 비슷비슷해서
For me, is dark, and I play him first. He always will beat me.
누가 됐든 뭐 전혀 그냥 상관없고 해볼만 하다는 입장이거든요. 좀 운을 노려봐야 되지 않을까 싶네요. 명우도 만나고 현우도 최근에 많이 졌거든요. 제가 장현우한테도. 근데 또 만나고 이제 뭐 사람 많지 않으니까 만나는 사람들 만나는 거 당연한데 하필 꼭 최근에 진 사람들만 골라서 만나는 것 같아서 조금 불편하긴 하지만 그래도 이번엔 올라갈 자신 있습니다.
My goal this season is to try to advance my group. So I will practice and prepare very hardly, and we'll see how it goes.
좀 힘들겠지만 그래도 최선을 다해서 좀 좋은 성적 거두는 게 목표입니다. GSL. 제가 밸런스 쟁쟁을 되게 많이 했었는데 힘든 상황 속에서 최선을 다해볼 생각입니다.
한번 사테란이 안 나오게끔 이번에는 열심히 진짜 한번 발악을 해보겠습니다. 나오면 뭐 어쩔 수 없지만.
Round of 16, Group C. Dark. Special. GuMiho. Creator. Africa TV. Freak Up Studio. Live. 2023. GSL Season 2.
All right, it's been a long and dramatic night, everybody. And honestly, I gotta say, everybody looks really good. Everybody looks really strong. And now we're finally gonna get to make or decide, who will survive into the round of 8. Now, look, I think if you came into Group C, not seeing the games we've already seen, you'd say, well, Dark takes this easily. Look, I think he's still the favorite here against Creator, but Creator's been in very good form. And this group is turning out to be a lot less predictable than we thought.
Yeah, it seems very evenly matched. Both of our first series going to 2-1. It feels like in many of the games, the leads exchanging hands. Really, both these players have an opportunity here to advance first to the round of 8 out of this group. Creator, I was impressed with his performance there against GuMiho. GuMiho just hot off a second place finish in a premier tournament. You got to think that he's one of the players to beat here. Creator did it in PVT, which is historically over the past year or so been a very difficult matchup for Protoss. So now here up against Dark, one of the greatest of all time Zerg players. Will he be able to come through with the same success?
2023 GSL Season 2. DKZ Gaming, Dark. Club NV, Creator.
So, you know, Dark, obviously a powerhouse player, but even today, Special proved he could take Dark on in a very conventional fashion. I mean, he won with a classic Terran push. Creator has already had a lot of ideas here for the PVT matchup. You know, he only has one Zerg he has to prep for. Let's see what he's got this time around.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's something special. It did feel like against GuMiho, he kind of came through with some unexpected builds that, you know, caught him off guard. But Dark is, I feel like, at least in ZVP, a little bit of a tougher nut to crack. This guy is usually on point. As you said in his first series against Special, he's not really a Zerg that often dies in the mid game. He's very resilient, he's comfortable playing, and he will even often opt to play on low drone counts just to be extra safe, even to be aggressive against his opponent. And I think against a player like Creator, who tends to rely a little bit more on his attacking and his micro as opposed to his macro, I would say he's maybe, you know, 60% of attacking and 40% more macro play if I were to try to divvy up his play style a little. I think that's a good matchup for Dark, and with Creator already coming out here looking to set up what I think should be a proxy Stargate.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how Dark weathers the storm.
Anything kind of deviating from that, that's also always welcome, but I think, yeah, probably a proxy Stargate. Really fast proxy Stargate, by the way, if it is.
Yeah, Warp Gate gets start there. Adept gets Chrono Boosted out as well.
We have a game like last season where somebody made a proxy gateway. No, okay, so it is a Stargate. But
I think we had one in one of the earlier groups. I don't know if it was PVZ. I don't recall exactly.
Yeah,
it's a proxy gate to
PvP.
PVT. Yeah. There's that PvP game where they built like every building in the middle of the map.
Yeah,
that was Group B, I think. But yeah.
So yeah, with this Stargate over here, he's going to rush out, probably an Oracle over here to start trying to come through. The Adept can come in here and basically take out the Zerglings and anything else that might try to scout that side of the map. And the Overlord is going to try to dive in onto the side and count how many gases are taken.
I think Dark should have a good idea that this is a proxy Stargate, because Creator started Warp Gate in the Cybernetics core. He chrono boosted out the Adept, and that's supposed to be a little bit scary for the Zerg, as in, like, I'm chrono boosting out something that might be a Stalker, you might lose your Overlord, get out of here. And he was hoping that Dark would turn back so that he could cancel the Warp Gate in the blind, but instead he had to cancel it right in front of the Overlord and then restart it about 15 seconds later. And usually that gap is the tell for a Zerg player, a very good Zerg player such as Dark, that a Stargate is out somewhere on the field. It might be in the main base, it might be proxied. With Dark now sending the Overlord here into the main base of Creator, I think I wouldn't be surprised if once speed was done, he started scouting around for a proxy, although with the Oracle already coming into the main base, he's just going to know.
So here comes that Oracle now. How many drones is he actually going to get? He gets up to 3 so far.
Yeah, nice trade.
Yeah, losing about half the health here on the Oracle.
Well, gets a 5th.
Yeah, 5 is a really good number, honestly.
Yeah, oftentimes we see the Oracle coming in and it will trade out a good chunk of its HP just for 3 drones, and you know, that's reasonable. Because the Oracle, its role is not just to harass, it also sets up for the Protoss taking their 3rd base, because there's not really anything that can kill it. Right, and
he's maybe going to get a couple more here. He gets at least up to 3, so that's 8 total. I mean, that's a lot. He does lose the pylon that powers the Stargate, and with that, he loses the ability to make any more Oracles, but I think the harass was already kind of done, right?
Yeah, very effective here for Creator.
Well, you were mentioning earlier that, you know, the Oracles are there to try to cover the 3rd, but I wonder if he's just going to do a 2-base timing. It kind of feels like that, right?
It does, with 4 more Kiwis getting thrown down, yeah.
It seems like you basically kill those 8 drones, and then you're like, okay.
Oh, it's charge.
Can you make it? Whoa! I was not expecting that. Okay, charge. So this is going to activate very, very quickly.
It's going to be Zealot Archon.
Yeah. This is a cool build.
Yeah.
I feel like Dark might suspect this.
Maybe. I think he needs an Overseer Scout to come through and actually really catch wind of this.
He has to sell what looks like a third base with the Adepts here.
Well, he does have 3 Adepts. The 2 Oracles and the Probe moving to the third base should all be tells here for Dark that this is underway, and that Zergling should be keyed in on this. Now finally does get cleaned up. More Prisms on the field, and Roach Warren is completing now for Dark. So question is exactly how he's going to split up his production, because if he opts to go more Ling heavy and maybe get some upgrades and lighter on the Roaches, that could be very dangerous for him against a comp like this. But instead, just powering up on Roaches seems like that's going to be his tech of choice. Probably gives him the best chance of surviving the storm that is what I imagine to be an inevitable push from Creator.
So he's going to come in now with those Archons. Now this is to set up and try to just get as much damage as possible. I mean, the Archon drop is pretty old here. The charge upgrade is done, by the way. But here's the setup. Here's the moment where you need to see, okay, what can this actually get done?
Ooh, Spire gets started here for Dark behind this. All right, only 10 Roaches on the field, but this is a small gateway force. Splash damage for the Archons, not the best just yet. Weren't really able to connect.
Well,
that
the Archon was attacking the Queen at the top, and so it's kind of not. Oh, I feel like this was much more exciting until it actually came out and happened here.
Yeah, I was expecting something a little bit more impactful, but behind it, I mean, Creator, he has been macroing back at home. He didn't really cut probes necessarily.
It wasn't a 2-base kind of all-in like we thought it might be, but I guess he would have had to have more gateways if he was going to do that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Spire now about halfway done. Leo Reconstitution as well, Roach Speed also in production here, and Dark is making a lot of gas, not morphing any Ravagers, and I don't know if Creator has any idea that this is coming underway, and this is a moment where not having Blink can really come back to haunt you as a Protoss, is if Dark just pumps out 11 or 12 meters right now and then guns it for the main base and the natural expansion. I feel like he could have run circles around the Protoss.
You know, when you do an attack like that with the Archons, you're never afraid to Mutas because the Archons are going to be right there to defend. But when it comes to the Zerg having Mutas out on the map, I mean, they can go anywhere and kill any of your workers. So, like, it's a lot harder to deal with.
And I don't know if Creator forgot Blink or if he's just opting to go for an extremely anti-ground focused army with Archons, Immortals, Charge Zealots, you know, +1 ground weapons, and, you know, 2 Robo Colossi. But that's kind of the worst case scenario here against these Mutalisks, is that you have a second robotics facility and no Blink and maybe 1 Stalker back at home. And Dark now with the Changeling coming into the main base here of Creators, where to spot this setup, he knows that there's only, you know, 1 battery or 1 cannon morphing in that mineral line. There's a lot of opportunity to get damage done here.
Okay, here we go. Now, the Archons do catch the Mutas initially. Got to be careful. You could try to cart the Archons around here with the Warp Prism, but you got to be careful that you don't lose the Warp Prism. This actually did not do anywhere near as much so far as I thought it would. It seems like Creator was actually very much so ready to handle this.
And the Archons have actually done a fantastic job. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Creator pick up Warp Prism speed to try and chase these down even more effectively here back at home once Thermal Lance is done. But, I mean, just dancing around these Mutalisks is always such an issue. Is able to get 1, 8 probes in total going down. And Creator, his army is very powerful, but this Mutaball is just going to continue to grow. Dark is not stopping with 10.
Yeah, I mean, he's still getting some damage done. He's still keeping Protoss pretty busy. It's easy to miss, but I mean, if you look at the Zerg side of the map, the growth has been incredible. He's on 5 bases now. And the push from Creator kind of can't happen until he has enough that he can defend this all 3 of these bases that are probe rich without an army, like with cannons basically and batteries.
Yeah, some Phoenixes are now entering the field here for Creator, so he's going to try and stop the Mutas that way a little bit, but the Mutaball just keeps getting bigger. 7 more Mutalisks in production now, +1 air weapons soon to be completed. Wow, we're going to go up to like maybe 30 Mutas in a moment here, and that's getting to the point where they can start killing Archons. They can start killing groups of Stalkers.
Yeah.
It's going to be very scary here for Dark, or for Creator, excuse me, because Dark, as you said, he's completely consuming his side of the map. His macro is out of control. Creator, although he does have that 4th base, he doesn't even have 66 probes, which is 3-base saturation, because he keeps losing so many here to the Mutas, and right now he's mineral starved, trying to get units to stop them.
Yeah, and he's got enough. He just actually fights the Archons head on. And when 2 Archons come, he just kind of slides away. He's just one-shotting anything he sees.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought this might be closer here, but I think we're almost to the end, to be honest. He even just gets the War Prism. He's going to get these Archons. This is going to be a rage-inducing moment here for Creator, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. Losing a game like this to Mulus always hurts really bad.
I'm angry, and I'm not even the Protoss playing right now, and I know how frustrating this is.
Yeah, I mean, Mulus, even when they get to a ball like this size,
Yeah.
Phoenixes don't even really start to touch them. You have to truly match Phoenix to Muta count to handle it, but Creator, I mean, he's keeping his composure. I think he recognizes that's just him getting blindsided by a tech switch by the Zerg. You could tell he was gunning for what could have been a very powerful ground push. He was going up to 2 Roos. He had Forge upgrades underway, Charge Zealots, a lot of Archons, a lot of Immortals. Very focused on crushing Dark on the ground, but Dark takes to the skies. He flaps his little Muta wings all the way to victory.
His big Muta wings.
His big Muta wings.
Dude, I mean, he's made that look so easy, by the way. It's funny, I think Creator had a lot of complicated ideas. I didn't like that he didn't kind of force more of a timing push when he gets 8 drones. That's such an extraordinary number. I feel like even if you were going to take a third, you look at that and you go, ooh, actually, maybe we can do this. Anyways, Dark up 1-0. Let's hope for a better game as we go on from Gresvin here for game number 2. Dark vs. Creator continuing on.
2023 GSL Season 2. DKZ Gaming, Dark. Club NV, Creator.
Looks like wood almost. Quite sure it's plastic, but some
the
nice
glasses.
frames, yeah.
I was looking at the map, I'm like, this map, I was like, this map is not wood, okay? It could be many things, it's definitely not wood.
I was still hung up on the glasses, yeah. It's a good look.
It is for sure a good look. So, I mean, this game, what is Creator going to do? Dark is usually on the reactive end. We'll see if he does any kind of rush this time around. Oh, how funny is this? Now, when you see there's no hatch there, you go, what? Dude, that was like Dark with just a little tactic to get his building up that shows he has everything so mapped out with what Creator's going to do. Creator is looking over there and he goes, okay, if there's not a hatchery by now, well, then that means there has to be a hatchery somewhere else. Now, keep in mind, there's all these strats you plan out, or play styles or approaches, based off, okay, like, how far is hatcheries apart? Is there anything we could do there? And then at the last second, perfectly timed out, Dark just goes right down and takes the base he wanted to.
Yeah, that was a cool move by Dark.
That is also a moment when you're playing against somebody, you go, ooh, this guy's good. Like, this is kind of scary.
Yeah, I always appreciate it when pro players can make moves like that where they're sacrificing whatever is optimal to do something that might be more strategically sound.
Yeah.
He was floating like maybe 400 plus minerals there before he threw down the hatchery. It only cost 300. But yeah, he does it. He does it there to get it at the natural expansion and maybe get under Creator's skin a little bit. Maybe that might affect his game plan here in the mid game, as you said.
Yeah, well, I mean, keep this in mind, too. We never see when the first probe is sent out to block the natural, we never see the natural start, ever, 100% of the games. That's the first one. Because Dark just goes, well, actually, here's what the Protosses do. Okay, they stay there, and then when they don't see anything, they go, oh, okay, well, maybe I missed it. I'll check up here. And then if it's not that, then maybe I'm getting all in or something weird's happening. So that's just cool to see. I mean, Dark is still developing and advancing, and now his third is going to be taken on his own terms.
Yeah, very cool play from Dark. Creator, meanwhile, going for the Stargate back at home. Stalker follow-up should be able to shoo away this Overlord. And we'll see if he can get as much damage as he did done in the previous game. I mean, 8 drone kills is hard to beat. You gotta think that it will be Oracle's coming out here. And yep, Oracle does get started up. And I wouldn't mind to see Creator a little bit more active if he is actually able to find that damage. I was right in the same boat with you where, 8 drone kills, that's momentum. That actually changed the dynamic of the game a little bit. This isn't just a couple pickings. It slows the Zerg down slightly, which, maybe a couple minutes from now they have 1 or 2 less roaches. That was a sizable chunk of workers getting taken out and really kind of a lighter push behind it.
A very, very squishy push. By the way, in the defense of Creator, it does seem like timing attacks work less and less versus Zerg. It seemed like for a while everybody was doing it and they were always working, and it's like, how are these Zergs going to stop this? These Zergs are like Home Alone burglars, like trying to just get what they want done, and there's always just something to trip them up. But instead, it seemed like they got so good at it that maybe he's saying, look, that's just not the route.
Ooh, banging them until 2, by the way. Did not catch that. Is he going to wait until he has 3? The second Oracle's popped out now. They're still by the Stargate. Is he trying to catch Dark being crazy greedy with this and skimping on Spore Crawlers?
Well, you can go through the blind spot there on the left of the Overlord's vision. He's taking a 3rd base, by the way. Oh, I'm sorry.
He's coming now.
He's going up. I thought I saw the Stargate rally down there. I'm crazy.
No, I think that was maybe him setting up for the 3rd.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought that was coming from the Stargate. I was like, all right.
No. I mean, there isn't any Spore Crawler here, but still only 3 drones, so you shouldn't be able to get too many kills. Most of them will be found in the natural expansion, which does have a Spore Crawler set up in a really good position. Although that one drone, I don't know what that one was doing. Kind of ran off there as Creator actually opting to basically sacrifice 1 Oracle for a handful, couple more drone kills. And he does get 8 again. So that's a nice pick for him. I do wonder what the follow-up is going to be from this position because, Creator, previous game, he threw down a ton of gateways. He got charge. He built a warp prism. He was warping in Archons, all before taking that 3rd base. So the 3rd base was almost an afterthought behind that push, which was designed to get some damage done with pressure. And instead, this game, playing a little bit more macro heavy. It will be Nexus and then Forge and Twilight. Now the gates are going to start to come in as the minerals pile up. And you have to think that from here, it's going to be a different arming composition than we saw in game number 1.
Yeah. Well, this is, I think, so far looking a little bit better here for Creator. I think because he hasn't really kind of attempted to set anything up that's going to, be too much of a commitment. Yeah, I mean, I think this is at least looking like a better chance here. He's going to keep roaming here with these Oracles and seeing if he can't ensure that, he's going to see exactly when that 4th base starts. Blink is coming. We got +1 attack. Blink inbound here means we're not going to get a situation like game 1 where mutas are just going to dictate the game and close it out.
Yeah, and the fact that Creator is also sitting on 2 Oracles makes me think that this is not going to be something as Blink Oracle heavy as we sometimes see from a player like Hero. Usually the magic number for that is 3 Oracles.
Oh, that's a good point. And, if I could just expand off that idea as well, part of the reason why we could have that in this game, and also that we won't see mass mutas made, is that in game 1, the Stargate was killed. He killed that Stargate early on, and it seemed like it was not impactful, but actually he's like, oh, you don't even have a building that makes a single Phoenix.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's very good point to make, Tasteless.
Thank you. I'm like, and your points are also so good, State.
Behind this, I was surprised to see Creator's composition back at home. I think he has something like 5 sentries. So while he's been gathering all of these resources, he's just spending all the gas on these sentries, all of the minerals on gateways, and generally speaking, this times out for a push. Because once those gateways are online, and yeah, here the Warp Prism is coming out, Blink is going to be done, +1, Ground Weapons is going to be done. Pretty much all of those sentries, excuse me, I'm not, usually we don't talk about sentries that much in this matchup anymore, are going to be very close to max energy with only 5 Ravagers on the field morphing in. There is some big potential here for Creator to find damage. Blink and +1 Ground Weapons about to finish off. Some units do get sectioned off. Bile did save some of those Zerglings, though.
Right now, a decent force field there. He blinks forward. I mean, he's advancing on this position very nicely. I really don't feel like Dark has enough to actually hold this. This looks like an untouchable army. In fact, he's just going to ditch it.
About 3 force fields, I think, left here for Creator, so running quite low on that, although the sentries are still building energy, all 5 of them still alive. And really the reinforcements right now, the Stalkers with +1 ground weapons, they should have a better time taking care of these Zerglings than otherwise. And now for Dark, he's scrambling a little bit, and I think Creator for a moment might have been considering blinking up into the main base, but instead just going to pivot right back here between the natural and the third. Would love to see a Revelation drop down and maybe try and clear up some of this creep, but instead just focusing all that energy on battling.
Okay, I mean, he's trying to come in here and break him. This is a much tougher spot to break through. But, you know, when you see the drones pulled like that, it's usually a very bad sign.
Wow.
He blinks on top. Push comes to shove here. He wants to try to close this out. Wasn't an overextension. It looked for a second like perhaps he had enough. Again, the worker count, by the way, he sacked drones, but he still has about the same amount. So, like, you know, Dark being the god at holding stuff might just barely hang on here. He could blink into the main as well. That's an alternative approach to how to deal with this.
A couple of Stalkers are blinking up. Sentry's actually coming in, so...
Ooh, and the Adepts. Creator's so good.
Yeah, getting some more drone picks there. That third base can do a lot to change the momentum of this fight, but now with Dark mostly building Zerglings and +2 melee attack completed, those units can be very effective against these Stalkers should they be able to get a surround. Still only 16 lings on the field, so Dark needs a little bit more time to build that count up. 10 more in production, more Roaches and Ravagers also underway. Dark now down more than 10 workers behind Creator. Those Adepts did a lot of work.
It's a funny moment. It looked like it was an all-in, and then it turned into a pressure build, and then a little bit of harass while the pressure's happening to destabilize the Zerg so he could go right back in and trying to close this out.
No Carapace upgrades. Those Zealots are going to shred through any Lings that come to reinforce. Take some of the pressure off these Stalkers here on the front line. Very close game. I think Dark might just have enough, but it's so close. And yeah, Creator, I think he's getting the exact same idea. He's like, I'm not going to break him. This has been a ton of damage. I have +2 ground weapons finishing up back at home. I'm retaining my Stalker Ball. This is a good position to play from. He takes a 4th base, throws down a 2nd Robo, and I believe a Robo Bay. Yeah, Colossus now in production.
Yeah, you know, he's been very smart. You know, I got to say, there's been so many games of Creator. No disrespect for this statement, by the way, but seems like he's almost got it, and he kind of overdoes it, or he fumbles the ball. That was a sign of a very good player to know when to back off. By the way, he's still developing behind this. It's not like he had to end the game. It's not like what we saw with Creator versus GuMiho, where he's like, I need to kill him right now. And so that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, did not get the kill there.
Yeah,
just the
good cancel. Big cancel there from Dark. Dark is staying toe-to-toe here, continuing to mass up Lings. Probably going to use these Lings for a counterattack for the time being.
Yeah, but this counterattack, it isn't really buying time for Dark. I think he doesn't know exactly how committed Creator was, and he didn't have his eye on this transition because behind all of this, Dark has not been droning. He's just been pumping out more units because he's terrified that if Creator comes up with a follow-up push, he might die. And now it's been too long on this low drone count. I don't think he can afford to drone anymore. Instead, he's going for Adrenal Glands, more Roaches, and now adding in Vipers. This is going to be an all-in play from Dark.
This is cool.
3 or 4 hatcheries. Just go for it.
Dude, I mean, he's got such a deep understanding of the race. And I think it's smart. He's like, well, we're kind of in this weird point where I was, you know, forced to take this game into a direction. Most players would then try to dial it back and go into a normal game. And instead he goes, we're just going to keep going.
Yeah, +3, almost called it infantry weapons. We have so many Terran players. +3 melee weapons is now done for the Zerglings as well as Adrenals. So a very effective DPS on the front line. But with the Colossus, I'm not sure they'll be able to have the staying power to actually do the damage. I mean, 4 Colossus in total. I don't know how much Viper energy is on the field. I would love for Creator to hallucinate some Colossi should he see those Vipers come on. Very scary moment right now for both these players. Creator fighting for his life in this series. And Dux comes in. First Colossus does get taken out. Second one as well.
Just one more to go right now. The Stalkers forced blink in. Oh my God, the Biles are connecting in kind of an extraordinary way because of the blink forward here.
And those files were absolutely massive because of that blink forward, and I feel like the momentum is shifting a little bit right now with the Roaches and Ravagers actually pushing the Stalkers and Colossi back. More biles coming in. Nice micro on the Warp Prison by Creator, shuffling those Colossi away, and Dark finally does tap out. He recognizes he just barely doesn't have enough, but man, considering he was on 52 drones for such a long time, he almost still won that fight. He almost had a chance to walk away with that game.
It was crazy.
Just barely having enough army.
I am so impressed. Okay, we're tied up 1-1. It's anybody's game right now. Creator is recovered, is looking strong. One of these two is going to move on to the round of 8.
I got to say, Creator's looking calm, cool, and collected on stage today, too. Nothing is really getting on his nerves. Very good to see him kind of in his element right now. Some fantastic series he's played so far. 2-1 against GuMiho, now 1-1 against Dark. One map win away from being our second Protoss to advance to the round of 8.
Yeah, I mean, this is cool. Creator, by the way, I mean, beating Dark would be huge because Dark is, again, one of the favorites of the whole thing. We're ready to go to game 3, guys. Buckle up.
2023 GSL Season 2. DKZ Gaming, Dark. Club NV, Creator.
Oh, what was that reaction?
I don't know,
Mess up?
actually. Did you like Chrono Boost his Nexus like a fraction of a second too early? I'm trying to think of what.
You know, it's funny because like some of these pros, they really do have a poker face. Like you would not know if they're anxious, if they're relaxed, or what.
Dark was at 295 minerals, by the way.
Yeah. But one thing with Creator's face is like, you can watch it and you can tell immediately how he's feeling.
Yeah, he has a very expressive face. He does not hide it well.
Well, not only that, he's talking to himself half the time
Yeah.
in the games. He mutters.
Do you do this when you play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also stream, so.
Oh, that's, well, I mean, of course, in that case.
So but I would do it a little bit, but then when I had that match against Scarlet for Tasteless Land Party, I'm like, okay, well, and I was actually nervous. I'm like, I really want to win this so badly. So I was like, I'm just going to talk to myself. So I was like, okay, well, like, let's just make this. And then I, like, realized she's in the booth with me. She just starts laughing. I can hear her laughing. And I'm like, oh, no. Yeah.
That was so funny in the moment, too. Like, after she beat you and you came out and you told us that story, I could not stop cracking up.
It's like, well, this is one way to lose, is you could just tell them in the game what you're thinking. Like,
it's like, all right,
so
now we throw down the Dark Shrine.
I'm like, when I play poker, I'm like, okay, so ace is good if there's an ace on the table. Oh, no. All right, so I don't know what to expect here from Dark or Creator. Dark, actually, the entire day today has basically just been reacting to stuff, which isn't bad. I mean, that's how most good Zergs play, but
it hasn't really been a Dark day in terms of just play style. You know, he hasn't been as aggressive as he usually is. We haven't seen any really cheeky cheeses come out from him too much. I mean, maybe the closest thing to that was Game 3 against Special, but that's just a massive Roach Ravager push, right? It's very different from some of the early aggression that we often see him bust out in groups like this. You almost feel like Dark's games are some of the fastest Zerg games that you get in any GSL.
yeah.
In any season, really, but so far here in Group C, he has dialed it back a little bit, as you said, playing a lot more reactive.
I mean, I guess the thing with Dark is it's not even like he wins fast. It's that some players, they get weird or they get experimental. They know they're going to just kind of advance. You know, they'll have like a strat like, well, I think I'm going to win, so let me try this, and it doesn't work. Doesn't seem like that's ever the case for Dark. Like, he's completely set up to try to just crush through every opponent.
Creator going back to his bread and butter from Game 1 and Game 2 as well. 2 Adepts into an Oracle here. We'll see exactly how he decides to play this off after the Oracle harassment starts, whether it will be a fast third base and tech up as we saw in the previous game, or something a little bit more aggressive. Really nice Adept shading in, by the way. 5 drone kills is not what you expect to get
Yeah,
this
that's
early on. This is crazy, actually.
that's a lot more damage than is normal.
Void Ray follow-up,
Void
too.
Ray,
He's going to
okay.
be hunting Overlords, I guess.
Yeah, which can telegraph that he has some kind of weird push he wants to do.
Yeah, I just, wow. I mean, five drones going down is insane. Also, the Spore Crawler is not done. I mean, Dark's going to lose a ton of drones. That's 4 more. We've had back-to-back games where he loses 8 drones to Oracles, and now here in Game 3, he's lost 5 to 2 Adepts and 4 to another Oracle. He's just getting really slowed down every single match.
And think about how wild that is. We almost don't even remark on Oracle drone kills in games because it's like, okay, he got 2, you know, anyways. But this time it's a very different story. So we're seeing the Void Ray kill the Overlords. Let's see. Now, we have had games where the Void Ray comes out and then they just expand and it's nothing. But again, when you're killing Overlords, you're also creating ambiguity as far as what they see on the map.
Third Nexus goes down here for Creator. His Dark supply block had actually built 3 Overlords to overcome that. So he had a big wave of drones finish right before that Overlord went down, and only just now equalizing in the worker count. So, you know, Creator, I gotta say, he's in a pretty comfortable position so far. One that he's been playing from both in Game 1 and Game 2. I mean, he's got to be feeling good here. It looks like he is going to mix it up a little bit again, this time Robo and Gateway, following the third Nexus. No Twilight or Forge just yet. And he should be able to find a couple more picks with only 1 Queen in the Spore. Wow. I love the decision to just trade out an Oracle too. He's like, I can kill like 3 or 4 more drones if I just let this thing die.
It's important, right? We're getting right to the point where that Roach Warren's about to finish. You got to make a decision. You know, how many more drones do you want to recover from? And so that's probably the idea there. Is you're like, all right, well, you know, the sweet timing is right here. Now, Protoss just getting some more gates. The Nexus, the third Nexus is about to finish. So like, you know, I don't think the attack is imminent, but it is keeping Dark on his toes.
A nice tag by Creator as
Look
well.
at that.
Yeah, this is, ooh, with 5 gateways underway.
He's making a little, what is it, like a group of animals? Like, what do you call a group of sentries?
Well, you call different. You call it depending on what the
Yeah.
animals are.
What
Like
is
a murder of
what do you call-
crows.
yeah, but like what is a number of sentries?
A number of sentries.
It's not like a gaggle of sentries or
Gaggle,
something.
gaggle sounds, yeah, gaggle
Yeah.
sounds appropriate. They have like
I've never seen that many sentries
they have
like
like
that.
40
They're all hiding.
They have 40 HP, right? That's definitely a gaggle.
Yeah.
Gaggle is a
that.
word that describes units that don't have a lot of hit points.
It's not a pride of sentries.
No.
But
It could be a pride of immortals. I can see that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. A troop of immortals or something. But
Yeah.
well,
this
that's really interesting. Again, remember, like, as far as Creator's concerned right now in PvZ, he just has to get 1 more game. So
Yeah.
this is like the strat to take the game. Now, we never see this many
Oh my
sentries.
goodness. Dark doesn't know that he's pushing across the map with this much right now. He's
Oh, no.
actually building the infestation pit.
Oh, he does.
Oh, does he?
Well, he's got a.
Does he know exactly? Because this is a lot coming out onto the field.
And it's a very unusual composition.
Yeah, this is an all-in,
Yeah.
more or less. This is a 3-base immortal timing. 4 Ravagers in the field, a lot of force fields in the
Ooh.
bag here.
Some nasty force fields there.
Yeah, follow-up force fields after the Biles rain down. I love the front. Roaches getting morphed into Ravagers here, buying a little bit more time for Dark, and Creator just keeps finding picks with these sentries.
But he doesn't quite get in.
Oh, it's tough to break up this ramp.
The next round is warped in. And, you know, a lot of this is the ramp. It's like a very unforgiving ramp. It's not too small, but it's also not too big. It's like, it's the Goldilocks ramp. It's just right if you're the Zerg.
Absolutely, especially with a Ravager-heavy army composition like this
Yeah,
one.
Biles can really be abused, but this position is much better.
Yeah, big arc here for both these players. Creator right now trying to do his best to whittle down the Queens on the left side. Oracle's now coming in. There's not a lot of anti-air left. Actually, all the Queens are going to go down, so these Oracles getting great DPS. They both survive.
Drones have not been pulled yet, but he has fractured the position between, you know, the second, the third, and the fourth, which is usually the sign the push is going to start to win.
Yeah, now moving into the natural expansion. Drones getting pulled. Oracle's very low on energy right now. They shouldn't be able to have enough to continue to fight right here, so a lot of firepower being taken away from Creator as they're low energy. Oh, barely dodging it. I think Dark might just have enough to hold with more Stalkers warping in, but this is so close, Tasteless.
I can't believe how close this is. The drones are going to come through.
Immortal dodging the bile
And
perfectly right now.
He doesn't have a spot to warp in yet. There's no convenient spot to kind of back up and warp in. Dude,
Wow.
Dark is so good at holding this stuff.
6 queens now
That's
as well.
crazy, man.
Dark, after all of that, he's been pumping queens since he lost those in the main fight, and finally now he has that anti-air back. It was a really scary moment where all of the queens that were guarding the Ravagers went down, but luckily for Dark, Creator didn't have enough energy left to really start focusing them down and just push his way through that position. If he did, it would be a completely different game.
Should he have actually just pushed from the other spot to begin with? You gotta
Maybe.
wonder, right?
It's hard if you don't know exactly what the unit composition is for Dark, right? I mean, if Dark was playing something more like Ling and Roach heavy and less Ravager, then suddenly pushing up that Goldilocks ramp, as you put it, is suddenly a lot better for Protoss. You know, there's less surface area for the Lings to get on. You can section units off better with the Roaches, but Ravagers plus Bile on a ramp like that is so hard to push through.
Yeah, well, there's not enough area to try to move away from them.
Oh, there's no Spore Crawler here.
Oh, there's not even a
Yeah, it got
Queen to defend, at least not for the start.
Yeah, the Spore Crawler got moved down to try and shoo away the Oracles and the Warp Prism, so nice foresight by Creator, recognizing that he can come back to that third base to get more damage done. Is back at home. He's macroing up, and 10 Swarm Hosts underway?
Yeah. Well, I think I think he can do is just set up some kind of an outpost here with the Swarm Hosts, where he just, he can come maybe from the side of the main or from where the third base is, and kind of just do damage over time. When you commit to attacks like that, you don't. You have units that can fight head to head, but they will just be chewed up over time by things like Swarm Hosts.
Hive is also underway here for Dark, as well as a Hydralisk Den. Creator
Big
with a nice
shutdown.
catch. Yeah, that's big here for Creator. He's in the scariest part of the game right now for him. But I don't know if he's going to be able to survive. I think, honestly, these Roaches and Ravagers with 10 Swarm Hosts of Locust shelling down that fourth mace, I don't know if this Nexus is going to survive. I mean, there's no batteries here. There's only one pylon now morphing in. The army for Creator is very undignified. It's mostly just gateway units now. He's just gonna sack the base.
Yeah, he just gives it up. You notice the Swarm Hosts don't even waste their time. They're already relocating. He's going to go to another place over here. And this is the thing. You could just send these Swarm Hosts out, and it's like free damage. And then the moment that they start to disappear, you just back right back out.
And just as you called it, Roaches and Ravagers retreat now.
I thought for a second he wasn't going to pull back. I'm like, you're going to lose all those units, man. You got to back up.
Yeah, the Stalker count is really high. Creator's just leaning into that is his edge here. So the win condition, I think, for Creator in this circumstance is to not let the Locust get too much damage done on these bases for sure, and try to find a way to catch either the Swarm Hosts or this big group of Roach Ravagers with your 38+ Stalkers that you're going to have. But it's going to be so difficult, and oh
no.
Okay. I mean, they are going to move over here to the middle, maybe rendezvous.
It's just Immortals
these
running from
Stalkers.
Swarm Host. It's like the most boring chase ever.
Warp Prism, I think, might be able to catch him. One of those Immortals did go down looking at the units tab, so one does survive. And Creator, I feel like he has to get something done with these Stalkers. I mean, +1, there really isn't a lot of tech underway. I mean, it's almost do or die, I think, but it's just such an uphill battle to fight against Dark. And okay, here we go, actually blinking up on the Ravagers. Creator pouncing on this position, able to pick off 3 or 4 of them. And now Dark is gonna have to focus on the defense, and Creator, he is not letting up another blink forward.
Okay, well, I mean, the Warpits continue on. This is a bit reminiscent of Game 2, right? Where, Creator's gonna come back out on the map with a massive amount of Stalkers, but this time, the defense tech is a little bit different. I don't like how staggered the Swarm Hosts are coming out there. You really want them to all kind of come out at once.
Oracles.
Well, there's Lurkers here now, and so the Lurkers kind of make the Stalker blink a meaningless ability.
Yeah, they do nullify it quite a bit. The only detection here right now is the Oracle. Some Stalkers blinking into the main base. Creator really trying to find damage any way he can. This is actually a fantastic spot to blink into, as there isn't too much on the ground besides the Lurkers and the Locust. But how do you get out of this position, Tasteless? Now with Locust coming back into the main base, I mean, Lurkers are also going to be sieging up.
Not only that, but like it's too big to recall everything.
Oh no.
So you're actually going to give up even no matter what. It's like there's not enough lifeboats for everybody to get back home. That, I think, is going to make the rest of this game, irrelevant as far as analysis. I mean, that's kind of the entire build-up was to that moment.
Yeah, I don't like this position for Creator anymore. I mean, it was a nice idea to blink up there. I loved how he was able to hit the mineral line for a good bit, but staying the distance and then having those locusts come in and using recall as your way out with a group of stalkers that high, I don't really see a way back for Creator in this game.
And, what is happening? Oh, okay, some of these are lurkers. For some reason, I thought those were all swarm hosts for a second. I was like, oh my god, what is he doing? But yeah, I mean, basically, Zerg can go right back to what they were trying to do anyways, and this time do it unencumbered. There's a small counterattack of stalkers coming up here, but it really doesn't matter compared to the damage that we're going to see here inflicted on all these extremely important bases, which, by the way, Creator is just operating on less of. Zerg is still maxed out after losing that base. And so I don't think there's anything to stop this march forward here from the Zerg, slowly wiping out everything Creator has. This means that Dark is going to be moving on into the round of 8, and Creator will go down to the final match here in this best of 5.
Yeah, first Zerg in the round of 8. Dark with back-to-back round of 8s. And a thrilling win for him.
Yeah,
I mean,
fun
way
series.
to go. Yeah,
Fun.
I'm glad that the round of 8's going to have some more Protoss and Zerg representation as well, too. After the first 3 players to qualify were all Terrans.
No, I mean, it's what better Zerg than Dark, right? So that's cool. And of course, we're not done, guys. We have 2 more matches here for the evening. But Dark wins. I will point out, Dark had to do a lot more work in a round of 16 than we're used to.
Yeah, that was a battle.
Normally, Dark is the shortest part of any round of 16. Where it's easy to even forget he moved on because most of the rest of the show is him trying to advance. We are going to go on to an interview now with Dark, and Andy's back. Andy, take it away.
Congratulations, Dark. Now you move on to round of 8. It was a fierce battle. How do you feel right now? Well, I feel happy that I moved to the round of 8, but today my performance wasn't really satisfactory, so I'm kind of disappointed with my performance. Then is there any match that you were specifically disappointed with? I think I've missed a lot of action in the map, and I've been kind of like shaken a lot by the opponent. What I want to know is this kind of like outside the game. It's not about your beard and your mustache. Björn in his winner's interview last week, he mentioned that there's no domestic Zerg player who can fend off the 2-barrack strategy. So when he says domestic Zerg player, that includes you, right? So what do you think about this statement? Well, it's kind of ironic. Because he mentioned that he played against Raynor in the international tournament, and he said that Raynor can stand off the strategy as well. And so right now the meta is that the Korean Terran players are all going for the 2-barracks Reaper strategy, and I find it kind of a little disgusting. And all the Zergs have been eliminated so far, apart from you. You're the first Zerg player to be in the round of 8, so anything you want to say in terms of that? Well, in the pre-interview, I mentioned that I want to try to prevent 4 Terrans going to the round of 4. I'll try to do that. And you've been eliminated from the round of 8 a lot of time in the past season. So anything about that? I didn't know I had a jinx regarding the round of 8. And it seems like that is the case for now. I haven't been aware, but I'll try to not make that a jinx anymore. Any words to your fans? It's pouring today, it's raining cats and dogs, so I'm really happy that there are fans here joining the venue. I'm not really satisfied with the performance, but I'll try to show a better performance in the next round. Well, Dark, thank you and congratulations on your round of 8 advancement.
Oh, hearing Andy in my ears. Excellent work, my friend. All right, well, Dark moves on, and now we have 3 players left here in Group C. 3 players left, and 3 spots left in the round of 8. I'm like, what's happened?
Yeah.
There was another way to say this too. But Creator, he's in good shape. He could still make it for sure.
Absolutely. He looked pretty good against Dark. He looked great in his first match as well. And he's going to play another PVT because we have a TVT coming up in the losers match. Should be fun. I'm looking forward to it, man. There have been really good games. I think every series so far has been 2-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we're getting 3 games for each series. All the games have been close. They've been really interesting. They've been really different. We're getting our value out of GSL today. A lot of cool strats, a lot of interesting ideas at play here. And so TVT coming up next, GuMiho versus Special. I have no clue who's going to take that. I think it could go either way.
Yeah, both kind of quirky players that often kind of play by the beat of their own drum. And yeah, we're going to see who takes that when we get back from this short break, guys. Don't go anywhere.